Okay, in this step, we want to create some custom fields that we can uh, create or assign values to, and that will populate our contract. So basically, um, we need like an array of fields, and then we need a key and a value for each of those fields. So I'm going to use Postgres's JSON data type to store those. That way we can have an unlimited number of fields for each contract that we want to create. So let's go do that. Okay, now let's test this out. So we're on, this is contract ID 5. Okay, so we want something like this where we have an array. Let's call it name is, just say like first, and then value is going to be Jess. Okay, and then we'll have another one. Okay. Okay, so that works. So now our custom fields are saved. Of course, our user will be able to create these, but we just want to go ahead and get some data to play with at first. So now we need to add these to um, our JSON builder. Okay. And then in our controller, so ideally we could just put something like custom fields here, but I've tried this before and it doesn't work. So we're going to have to put in some kind of a little bit unique code for this section. Okay, so we're going to keep this the way it is. We're just going to assign this to a variable. Then we're going to say custom fields okay, and we need to namespace this with contract. And here as well. Oh no, not here. Then we're going to call opens, and that's going to just make sure everything is permitted. So I think that'll work. So next, we want to go back to our view file and let's create a section. So we'll do a new row here. Let's just create like a title. And then this time we want to loop through, and we'll make a field name, or we'll make a field or a input for the name and the value. So here we're just going to copy kind of the same text field here. Oh, we need the form group. we'll keep that as name. So our loop is going to be like this. We'll call this this will be so I think that sounds better if we go singular for field and custom fields, and this will be field.name. Let's just get rid of this. We'll say inner field name. And do the same, except for this one's going to be called value. Okay, and then we need to go down to our data. Go ahead and say that's an array. We'll see what that looks like. Cool. So here it is. First name, or the field name, field value. Let's change that to field name. I think that just is a little bit easier to read. So this kind of runs into this. Let's space this out just a little bit. And let's spell fields correctly. Okay, so now we need to be able to save these fields. Let's make sure they're saving. Let's change this, submit, no errors. Let's refresh. Okay, we didn't get, let's see if we do get an error. Yep, okay, so let's see what it is. Okay, so it looks like we got a misspelling in our controller. Oops. There's params and param. Let's see if that gets it. Okay, no error this time. Let's refresh. All right, and there's our data. So it looks like we're getting it saved. So now we might want to add more custom fields, right? So let's see how we could do that. Let's just copy this and place it here, or actually let's move it up one. We'll do a v-dash on click. So we're going to listen for this click event. Let's prevent the click, and we'll say, okay, now let's define a method down here to add the field. Okay, so to add a field, we're just going to grab this contract custom fields, push, and then we're just going to create an empty custom field, which will look something like this. What do we call it? Name. It's going to be blank. value is going to be blank. See what that looks like. Property of custom fields. This is not content. Contract. There we go. So we're going to add as many as we want. Let's refresh. Let's just add one. So let's say like date. All right, save that, refresh, and it's still there. Cool, so that's working. Now, what if we wanted to remove a field? Let's try, maybe we'll just put that in the label of the value. Maybe that works, or maybe right under it. Let's just copy that same. I don't need a p tag. Oops. Let's remove the field. Okay, now we probably, if this wasn't an MVP and we're trying to put it together quickly, we would just we'd probably create a component for this, or we probably would create a component for all of these custom fields and pass the each set of custom fields into the component and let it kind of handle that particular set of fields. But here what we can do, so when we click on this remove, we don't have a way to identify which element we want to remove. There's no unique ID or identifier to identify that object in the array. So what we can do up here is we can just keep up with the index. So we can say field and I for index, and then we can pass the index with this remove field, and then when we grab it here, so we'll splice the index and one field. So let's see if that works. So what error we got? Okay, so we don't have I defined. Oh yeah, we got to pass it in here. Let's add one, remove it. Okay, it's gone. Let's refresh. Let's remove this one for good, and we'll save it. Refresh. Okay, we're done. I think this is a little large, so let's just change this to like an X. And let's put it at the beginning of here, maybe. Yeah, okay, that's a little bit better. So there we go. So now we have, we can create custom fields. Company, and let's see, we'll do date again. Something like that. Let's save, refresh. Cool, so we got all those values. All right, so I think the next step is to be able to take these values and be able to include them in our contract like this, and then have it replace first with the value Jess.